Welcome back. Let's roll out to Los Angeles, bring in Coach Jason Brown from Last Chance U. I like to call him Last Chance Q. JB, I'm not going to start with a specific question. I just want you to give your general thoughts and reaction to what you saw last night on Monday Night Football.
A freak accident. A freak accident that happens every day in life. We just happen to witness it live and on TV. That's what my initial reaction is. That's what I said. I was actually doing a little live show last night while it happened, and it's unfortunate. I've had players that have either played with me or for me that I've seen similar things happen. My mom's a doctor. I got to see. She thinks it's what's called SADS syndrome or disease, where you go into a little bit of a cardiac arrest. You lose blood and throughout your body. That's why he stood up and acted the way he did for about 5 seconds before his, before the reaction hit. So there's a lot of things that we don't know, though. Nobody knows, but I err on the side of caution, and it's unfortunate that it happened. This is what happens, though. This is real life, and unfortunately, not to say this guy is going to make it or not make it, but death is part of life, and we see this every day in this in the world we live in, man. And it's just crazy to see a lot of the comments that you see from certain people about certain things, and it just kind of shows you how toxic social media really is, and how soft we are as a society. And before you move on, let me just say this is not good for the sport or sports, plural, in general. There's no good coming out of this for one simple reason. We are in a fragile state in America, and we are so quick to cancel. We are so quick to pull a kid out of playing a sport because we don't really know or do investigation, turn over rocks, and understand really the full totality, what it really entails to become an athlete or a student athlete. And now I'm just scared we're gonna see thousands of kids being pulled from playing football today if we haven't already. 600,000 kids were playing high school football, Jason, just 5 years ago. 300,000 are playing now in America. So we are at a critical mass. We have a very, very serious participation rate in playing football, in 11-man football. There's 6,700 high schools in America that play high school football. And 6,700, if you just do it times 50, this just roundabout way, you're roughly at around 370, 400,000 people, I guess. That's not including the 8-man leagues and the other leagues or JV or freshmen. We're just talking varsity 11-man playing football in high school. We're at a critical mass. We're losing participation across America every day, and I'm scared that we're going to only continue to go that way, especially after seeing what we saw last night.
I'm double checking because I thought it was more than that. I do know that every year it's less and less players playing high school football. And this will have an impact. And you went right where I wanted to go. Do you think it's fair to blame football for what happened to Damar Hamlin last night?
No. I went off this morning. I had a pretty big show this morning. I watched Ryan Clark last night, which I can't stand the dude. I watched him last night, and he's using these words as he's crying on TV, which – it's just so staged. He's using words that are just blowing my mind. Just come out and be genuine, man. Like, you're on a big platform. Come out and be genuine. You played the sport at a very high level. You were a very good player. You were a hard-hitting safety that came downhill, so you put your body at risk. You got injured before. And you should have just came out and been genuine and said, listen, these things happen. But to say that it's not fair, to say that this does not need to be happening, this kid does not deserve it, but quotes, this is what he used, words he used, deserving. Well, I could say you don't deserve the job at ESPN that you hold. I could say that these 7-year-olds getting killed every day by drive-by shootings don't deserve it either. But guess what? I don't see anybody doing anything proactively. I think everything is reactionary. We always want to react and do the rip, retweet. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. After the fact. Well, this is a thing that you can't be proactive about, and you can't react to it. All you have to do is allow it to happen. This is what happens in life. This is part of life. We see it every day. My buddy walking his dog getting shot on the street doesn't deserve it either, but it happened. And I just don't understand the word deserving being used, thrown around in this situation. We don't deserve a lot of stuff, man, but it is life, and we got to keep moving on.
I'm critical of Ryan Clark, clearly. I want to defend him and everybody on ESPN last night to some degree. This is a byproduct of social media. They're so concerned with getting ripped over social media that they feel like, well, the only thing I can do that's safe is emote and have a competition. Who can be sadder on ESPN? And that's all we saw last night was a competition of, I'm going to be more somber than the next person. And if I'm just somber, I'll be safe. Because if you start any type of real discussion, if you are a human being capable of more than one thought at a time, because all human beings are, we can think, man, I feel sorry for Damar Hamlin. We can also think, hey, I wonder if they should play this game or not. Hey, I wonder if, if they don't finish this game, should they just cancel it? Hey, this game is really important. And so Skip Bayless puts out a tweet where he's like, hey, this game's important. What are they going to do? And then he ends it with like, this is all irrelevant because this kid's in the hospital. And we're trying to cancel Skip Bayless because, again, Twitter requires that. You're only allowed one thought. And so all of America was supposed to just sit around and say, oh, I feel sorry for Damar Hamlin. I feel sorry for Damar Hamlin. You're not allowed to think any of these other things, and you're not allowed to have a real conversation. So I saw people struggling like, if I say what I really think, I could get ripped over social media. They could come after me the way they've gone after Skip Bayless, and it may cost me my job that's paying me a lot of money. So just let me come on here and cry and say emotional things that will be pleasing. Oh, football's a very dangerous game. This is the dark side of football. Man, kids are getting hit with baseballs in the chest and dying. It's happening. Field hockey.
Soccer.
We've seen Hank Gathers. Soccer everywhere. Yeah, but social media doesn't allow us to have a real conversation. And so I feel sorry to them to that degree, but they just got to do better than, oh, this is the ugly side of football. It happens once every 50 years. 50 years ago, a guy died of a blood clot during a football game. And now, 1971 with Chuck Hughes. And now this guy has collapsed. Damar Hamlin has collapsed. He's in critical condition. I hope he makes it. We all do. But let's don't act like, guys are dying on football fields. It's like Beirut out there. That's a joke.
Let me ask you this. So what about all this? See, you're only canceled if you got the blue check mark. Myself, you, Skip Bayless. All the people that have no blue check mark and are basically people that follow the people with blue check marks, they can say whatever they want. So what about all these guys who had money on the game and you see the blatant disrespect about the human element and just say, what happens to my money that I put on DraftKings? Do I get it back? What about the guys that paid to watch the game? Do they get their money back? But nobody's canceling them, right? We're only canceling yourself, myself, Skip Bayless. So my show brought up the Skip Bayless thing, and I go, I don't even know what he said. I didn't look at him. I don't follow him. So I go and look what he said, and I look at it and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I read it out loud 7 times on my show. And I'm like, what is the big deal here? Am I missing something? So I guess the big deal is, Jason, we are at a fragile state in a critical era in our generations in a critical era. And this era is so soft and quick to cancel somebody because of the insensitivity is what they're going to say, because he came out and basically just said, this is a critical game, but this kid's health is first. I didn't see any issue with what he said. And then at the very end is where everyone's going to say you're insensitive. And then I start seeing all these people like Des Bryant. We need to cancel him ASAP. And I'm sitting there like, didn't you hit a woman? You have the audacity to come out and cancel somebody. See, if I did something criminal, or if I did something that is just a flat out embarrassment to my own mother, I would stay away and shut the hell up. I would go away quietly. But see, the audacity of social media allows you to do things because you never have to look at another human in the eye. You get to tweet it out on a keyboard. And these guys that want to cancel people after they've been absolute criminal with behavior in their lives blows my mind. And I cannot fathom it. And last time I checked, Jason, I'm just curious. Isn't there an amendment for freedom of speech? Because I just don't get that we can't say anything. Only certain people can say certain things, and it just blows my mind. I can't get over this fact that there's certain people out here trying to cancel. Are we canceling Dana White today? Because he hit his wife. His wife on TV, man.
Yeah,
like, slapped her. Bam. Like, is he canceled or is he going to be on a major show today? Because I'm curious. Like, come on, man. Like, you're the epitome of a scumbag if you hit a woman. I'm just, period. I don't care if she hits you 27 times. You are comfortable, Jason, doing things you're comfortable doing. He's clearly comfortable hitting a woman because he did it last night. I lost all respect for the dude. Not that I watch him or follow him anyway, but why aren't we canceling him? Skip Bayless is being canceled over a dude that hits a woman? Like, what? Man, I'm done with social media. I'm telling you, I can't wait to get off it.
JB, I'm not prepared to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. I'm still marinating on how I'm going to handle what went on with Dana White. But you always go off on tangents, so I was prepared for it. Listen, as it relates to Skip Bayless, you're making excellent points, and I really like the Des Bryant point and just the softness and the desire that somehow if we cancel Skip Bayless, life will be better in the sports world. I don't get it. I don't respect it. I get it. I don't respect it. This is what social media has required of us. It's so perverted. All conversation. We can't move forward. We can't fix real problems. We can't address real issues because social media has us by the balls and has us by our tongues and throats. And it's all we can think to do is, how can I go out and be mean to someone else and distort what someone else has said and use it to build myself up? It's embarrassing, but that's where we are.
Yeah,
the other point that,
why didn't he show up?
Because he's trying to embarrass Skip Bayless. There's no question about it. He's trying to embarrass Skip Bayless. He wants to force Skip Bayless out. Envy is a terrible emotion, and Shannon Sharpe has it. He's been feuding with Skip for a long time, and he feels like this is a moment where he can get some get back, and so, he's making himself a part of the story. These guys all want to talk about, let's focus on Damar Hamlin, but if I can make myself a part of the story, let's do that too.
But this is the state of, that's why we're so fragile, Jason. This is the state right now this is the critical mass of this country. We can just not show up for our job that we make a lot of money at, and I wish the frontline workers could just say, screw you, I'm not showing up today because my boss yelled at me today and I'm just not going to show up. I bet you money if the Walmart worker don't show up, he's fired. But guess what? This is the era we're in, Jason. Derek Carr didn't show up to work either. And he makes $150 million. And he said, screw it, I ain't showing up. That's how soft we are now. And we accept it. We allow it. And we are at a critical, I'm telling you, this is the worst I've ever seen it. And we allow it instead of coaching.
Let me ask you this, JB. I make a point today that football is suffering from overexposure. And that's part of what's different about this era as opposed to when Chuck Hughes died as a Detroit Lion. It's like you saw a highlight on your local newscast sports segment that local newscast sports segment probably lasts 4 to 7 minutes. They show you 30 seconds. Hey, by the way, Chuck Hughes, a Detroit Lions player, died on the field, and that's it in 1971. Whereas now the NFL has standalone games Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night, and a network and the whole nation focuses in on one game. And there's a 24-hour sports network, ESPN. There's a 24-hour sports network, Fox Sports. And they all feast and exploit on any of these individual incidents and blow them up. You would almost think, the way the sports networks are covering this, and I'm not saying that it's not an important story, because it is, what happened with this. But this is like John F. Kennedy got shot. That the entire ESPN's on a loop ever since this happened, just Damar Hamlin, and no one has anything really interesting to say. Everybody's just coming on to talk about how sad they are, and let me emote and show some emotion. And the NFL, there's nothing they can do about it, but this massive audiences they draw with these standalone games put them in the crosshairs, and now the whole system has been rigged and geared toward the biggest story we can cover is a player getting injured or harmed in some way. And so they're just all sitting around waiting in one of these standalone games or big national TV games. Everybody's just sitting there holding their breath. When someone gets hurt, let's overreact and let's blow it out of proportion and let's not. I don't know if ESPN to this moment right now, as we record this and talk about this and air this, I don't know if they've even mentioned Chuck Hughes. Last night there was no perspective about any incidents involving any athletes in football or any other sports. They did nothing but everybody just come on air. Oh, thoughts and prayers for Damar Hamlin. We must focus on Damar Hamlin. They gave us nothing to think about, no perspective, so we could understand what's going on. NFL, its overexposure is hurting them in this instance.
I believe because we've given the keys to the car to these kids. We've made it a player-driven league instead of a coach fan-based league. It is a player-driven league. They can demand trades at will. They can demand their salary. The marketplace has been set so high for mediocrity because mediocrity is the new excellence in this world we live in. And when you give these guys this big money, you have to get a return. So the return is to keep the fans engaged, to get fan bases to show up. So we have to overexpose the sport. And what you saw last night is the epitome of this. It happens every day, Jason. This happens every day. I know a buddy that was walking down the street. A car drove by and hit a spark plug on the ground. Just a spark plug that was littered on the floor on the street. It ricocheted and hit him straight in his chest and killed him. Nobody talked about it. My dad died in my arms in 2005. Nobody gave me a GoFundMe. Nobody cares. But yet, this guy who has his own foundation has yet to make over $100,000 on it in 3 years. He's already at $4 million in 14 hours since the incident. But yet we're so reactionary in life now that nobody even knew this kid was. And now we're giving him $4 million to help this guy's fund. He may not ever see a dollar of this money, and he never even see where it goes, unfortunately. But we're so reactionary instead of proactive. We're reaction. Why can't we do this proactively and support this kid's thing? Why are we now all of a sudden? Because you know why, Jason? We want to donate to the cause, screenshot it, and show Twitter that I gave him $20. And it is such a joke and a mockery of what we have become, and a slap in the face, to be honest, because these cats that are paying $20 are doing it for clickbait. They don't care where it's going. And it's just unfortunate.
It's the new Ukraine flag. It's the new Ukraine flag.
That's what it is. And God forbid you say something that's real and resonates with the common folk out here, because nobody cared about my dad dying. You know where I was at the day my dad died? I was at practice as the offensive coordinator at East LA Community College. And you know why? Because I told those kids I would be their coordinator for that season, and I wasn't going to miss a day. And just like I've never missed a day of practice or playing career or practice or coaching career, I promised you that I was going to be there. And my dad would never have allowed me not to be there. And he died April 18th, 05. I was at spring ball April 18th, 05, and a matter of a few hours later. And that's just what it is. You imagine that now happening? Hell no. These guys ain't going to go coach. They can't even show up to work on time. Derek Carr won't even go to work, and he makes $200 million. But guess what? This is a different world, man, and it's so enabling. We expect instant gratification for doing absolutely no work. And we cannot prove our worth anymore. We absolutely want instant gratification. And that is where we are now. And unfortunately, social media is a big blame on that. I do believe it. I think obesity has become a big blame on that. And I just believe that we can't put down our PlayStation sticks. We can't put down our phones long enough to understand what really is going on in the world. We want to see what's not real. And that's social media, because you believe everything you hear or see. And you refuse to listen and observe. Hearing and seeing is completely different than listening and observing and doing your own analytics on it and doing your own research and coming up with your own ideology and your own philosophy. Everybody is such a follower now. We're such a follower. Guess what, Coach? I got 200,000 followers now. And guess what? You have 32 followers. And you follow 200,000 people. What does that say about you? You're a follower. We have so many people that are following now. And we don't understand. And I believe social media is causing that. We have so many followers, not enough leaders. And guess what, Jason? Last time I checked, leaders create more leaders, not more followers.
Last question, I want to end on this note. I think you can speak to it. This whole demonization of football, the group that's hurt the most is actually the black players. They're destroying a game that has been awesome to them, changed their lives. And every time I hear a Ryan Clark or any of these guys take a dump on football, and he doesn't even understand how he's taking a dump and how he's participating in the demonization of a game that has served him and so many others well. I include myself. I would have never went to college without football. Never saw a college campus. And getting to a college campus changed my life, even though I never got a drop. Never had a cup of coffee in the NFL. It's still, just getting to a college campus changed my life. And I'm looking at people take a dump on football and participate in the destruction of football. And I'm like, man, do these guys know what they're doing?
They don't realize that the investment they once had into understanding their forefathers and what this NFL brought to their forefathers and what it brought to them. So they don't understand that the Rod Woodsons of the world allowed Ryan Clark to exist. They don't understand that Ronnie Lott allowed you to make more money than they did. And now you're basically slapping it in the face. i.e. Kyler Murray, i.e. all these guys like Derek Carr who make all this amount of money and don't even have the common courtesy to respect the game and the people that were before them. And now you take these subtle shots and jabs at different people because you have made it, so to speak. You have made it in the whatever genre you're in and or what avenue you're taking. And he's made it because he's on ESPN. He's got a podcast now that he gets to promote on ESPN, which is great, right? That's just unbelievably how ironic it works out that way. I just don't see how you can slap the sport that paved the way for your livelihood and your family's livelihood to in the face like they do. I just don't understand how a lot of these people do it. And yet we got all these guys are worried about betting and what money they lost last night over any type of injury that we saw live. But nobody cares about them. They care about Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp feud. And how staged was that Skip Bayless rebuttal to his tweet? I just saw that on Twitter. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why would you even apologize? It's over. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. What do you mean? Why are you apologizing? I just don't get it, Jason. We're in a fragile state, man. I'm telling you right now, we're in a very fragile state. And I just want to make enough money to get off Twitter.
Thank you, JB. Great job as always.